Welcome back to 33-year-old Boomer ranting in the woods. Today, I want you to consider becoming an outcome-independent Chad. What do I mean by that? So typically this Stoic saying refers to the idea that you should be comfortable with loss. You tried something, it didn't work out, what can you do, essentially? And that's pretty valuable. However, I propose that we consider a different interpretation of that today. In this very cynical world, power is very important because, of course, power gives you options. I wish it wasn't like that. It is a pretty cynical view. However, it is a pretty cynical world. I think that going forward, you should do your best to put yourself in a win-win position. So what am I talking about? A perfect example of a platform who does this is the platform that you're watching this on right now, which is YouTube, most likely. You see, YouTube has positioned itself in such a way where no matter what happens, YouTube wins. So it has eliminated pretty much all risk. In other words, YouTube needs content. And people like us, we produce the content. Now, whether our channel is monetized or not, for example, mine isn't yet, despite the fact that it's been growing a lot, which I'm very appreciative of. Please don't steal my fingerprint. I'm not monetized yet. But you may have noticed, for example, if you saw the video that I posted the other day, where I read the entire Vim manual, so it's an 11-hour video, you may notice that you may have seen ads on it. And the reason why is because YouTube puts ads on the videos and earns from them regardless of whether the channel is monetized or not. Thus, YouTube has very cleverly put itself in a position where it wins no matter what happens, right? A bunch of people try to produce content because they want to make a living from making content. They want to escape their office job or whatever. And so what happens is these people, like myself, we make the content. We take all the risk in terms of taking the time, coming up with concepts, sometimes even paying for certain aspects, like paying for music or something. For example, I'm a video editor, and so my clients pay me to edit the videos, right? I mean, they take the risk of paying for the video before it ever even goes up on YouTube. YouTube doesn't do that. YouTube just provides the platform, which of course there is cost and risk involved. However, once that's set up, it's pretty much just a matter of allowing other people to take the risk. And so when you make a video and you put it on YouTube, you as the creator has done pretty much all the work. And YouTube gets to monetize that, regardless of whether they have to share the revenue with you or not. And that's a perfect example of a win-win situation. YouTube has put itself in a position where it wins no matter what. And so this is something that I've tried to do for a long time in my own life. The first time I came across this concept, this is going to be a bit cringe, by the way. Get ready, cringe story coming up. Oh, so when I was a teenager, I'd ask girls out on dates. And this didn't happen all the time, but occasionally what would happen is the girl would say yes, and then she wouldn't show up. Or she would cancel at the very last minute. Which is fine, but obviously it's a very frustrating position to find yourself in. And so I went to all the boomers in my life, and I said, hey, did this happen when you guys were my age? And the answer was no, it never did. So this was more of a symptom of modernity than of me, I guess, which was very, it was great to hear that. I was very happy to hear that, right? Then I compared notes with other guys, and it turns out that, they've had the exact same experience as I have. And so I came up with a very, very devious plan, which was to make it a win-win, right? So For example, when I used to live in London, right now I'm in Norway, I'm in a forest in Norway. There's actually hunting going on right now, and I'm wearing entirely black, which is a very terrible idea. Don't do this. I look like a very big moose probably right now. So I came up with this idea, right? I really like Richmond Park, which is a beautiful park in London. If you ever have the chance to go, you should 100% go to Richmond Park. Now, I thought, okay, I really like Richmond Park. It's also quite close to where I lived at the time. And so I thought, okay, when I ask a woman out on a date, I'm going to say, hey, let's meet up in Richmond Park. It's beautiful. Have you seen it? There's loads of deer. It's very beautiful, actually. And so what would happen is if she didn't show up, which as I got older, that became less and less of a problem. However, if she didn't show up or if she canceled at the last second or whatever, I could still go for a walk in the beautiful park. In fact, the premise was that I was going to go for a walk. I might as well invite this beautiful woman to join me. And so when you frame it like that in your own mind, there is no disappointment. You wanted to go for a walk. You went for a walk. If it so happens that a beautiful woman joins you, that's brilliant. If not, oh well, you still had a beautiful walk in a gorgeous park. And once I realized this, I started applying this to many other aspects of my life. Now, when I started my channel, which is, I think it's only been about 2 months, we're almost at 800 subscribers. Thank you. That's very sweet, very kind of you to help an old boomer out, an old 33-year-old boomer. The way that this channel started was this. I have to use Mac OS because of my freelancing. I'm a freelance video editor. And so I would love to use Linux. However, I pretty much have to use Mac OS. I can replace most of the things that I'm using with Linux applications. However, there are some that I can't, and there is a lot more reliability when it comes to very specific use cases for video editing, whatever. So I have to use Mac OS, but I really like Linux. And so I made an effort to rice my Mac OS install to the point where it just looks a lot like Linux. I remember I had this beautiful moment where I thought, I was looking at my install and I thought, isn't this beautiful? Oh my God, isn't this gorgeous? Look. And then I looked around and there was no one around. Definitely not anyone that cared about any of this. And so I thought, wouldn't it be cool to start a channel where I could post stuff like this, where that would soothe my autism? Wouldn't that be beautiful? Wouldn't that be great? And so I did. Now, I thought, okay, well, how can I make this so that it's a win-win? Well, there are 2 possibilities with this channel, and whichever one happens is partially up to me. It's mostly up to the algorithm and you guys watching. But I thought, okay, I'm going to make content that I like, that I think is cool, that will improve people's lives. And 1 or 2 things can happen. 1, the channel does really, really well, in which case I can make money on this and I don't have to go down the route of getting, because I like programming. I think it's pretty fun. You can have a look at my GitHub. It's actually kind of a weird place, but I like coding and I would very much like to get into coding at some point and just do it professionally. Now, if this channel works out, then I get to do mega autistic projects that I want to do without having to worry about whether the company that I work for wants to do those projects or whatever. And so that'll be peak win, right? Where I can just do whatever and make money and live in the woods and get a wife and have like 10 kids, all that great stuff. That'll be a massive win. That'll be an epic win, as the cool kids say nowadays. However, if that doesn't happen, right? If the channel got 0 views, or if it had very few views, it wouldn't make a difference, because every video on my channel would become an element of my CV, right? So when you apply to a job, you can say, oh, I know React, I know whatever. But the employers know that you're probably lying. You don't know React, do you? You're just saying that you know React. And you're just going to learn it. You're just going to learn it before the interview, right? They've caught on to that. They know. And so it's a lot more impressive if you say, hey, I know Vim. Hey, here's an 11-hour video of me teaching Vim to thousands of people. Hey, here's a playlist of me teaching people Ruby or something, right? That hits a lot harder. That they look at that and they go, wow, this guy has the tism. Let's hire him. And so whatever I do with this channel, whatever happens, it's a win-win. Also, I really like science fiction, I'm a big fan. And so I've been writing my first sci-fi book for a little while now. I think that if you like Dune, if you like the Ecoloton series by Modesty, if you like the Hunger Games, if you like Fallout, I think you might actually really enjoy it. It's not out yet. I'm still working on it. I want it to be pretty okay. But if the channel grows a lot more, I can just say, hey, autistic people who like Vim and stuff, here's a sci-fi book. You might enjoy it. Because I'm pretty sure, I don't know what the Venn diagram looks like between computer nerds and science fiction nerds, but I'm pretty sure it's almost a one-to-one, isn't it? Let's be honest, it's pretty much almost a one-to-one. And so, why not? I mean, that'd be pretty cool, living in a cabin in the woods and writing science fiction and programming and making weird tutorials and boomerangs in the woods. I think that'd be quite cool, quite a fun thing to do. Now, a perfect example of this and how you can make things win-win is actually the massive video that I just released, because someone on Reddit said something along the lines of, hey, I'm sure this is going to pay off in like the short term or the long term. And I get what he meant, because this is despite the fact that the video is doing pretty well, it would appear from the outside that investing 69 hours, which is actually how long it took approximately. I think it was like 70, but it's funny to say 69. From the outside, it would appear like, hey, was this worth it for the payoff, you know? And my answer was that I've already won this. Like, by doing this gargantuan project, first of all, I've learned a lot about Vim. Second of all, I've managed to unlock a level of stamina that I didn't think I had before, because this was like 16 hours of recording, which I then had to edit down into 11 hours. And then I had to go through the final recording, just the audio, and remove many of the breaths, because my breaths can be quite loud on the mic that I use and whatever. And so that was a lot of work. And guess what? I knew that I was capable of something as gargantuan as that project, but it hits different when you actually do it. It hits different when you sit down and you record. Like, for example, my first recording session for this was about an hour and a half, because my voice was giving out and I had to stop. But the last recording was like 4 hours, right? I mean, I got that much better at talking for hours just by doing a few of these sessions. And so no matter what happens, no matter how great or poorly this video does, the 11-hour one, I've already won. I've already benefited so much from it. And I hope that the people who watch it also benefit from it. And if this video happens to do really well, if it happens to open weird opportunities in the future, hey, that's pretty good. If not, it doesn't matter, because I've already won. And so my question to you, dear viewer, oh, that's very overexposed. That's pretty funny. I won't even fix that. Let's just leave it overexposed. And so my question to you, dear viewer, is how can you implement this in your life? How can you turn a situation where it could be a win into a win-win? Let me know down below.